Before the break, we asked you if you would buy a PS3 if Sony prevented you from playing used or rented games. Well, a whopping 83% of you said that you wouldn't buy a PS3 if it were that cruel to you. And if our poll is any reflection of the buying audience, which of course it is, Sony might be worried. Let the debate begin. Here's Kevin.
Thanks, Olivia. Now, can it really be true? Sony has patented technology that prevents PlayStations from playing used, rented, or borrowed video games. This story has kind of flown under the radar for a while, but with today's LA Times article, it's back to being a hot topic. Now, Sony has said very little about it, but some are speculating that it will be in the new PlayStation 3s due out in just a few months. The ramifications, they could potentially be huge. Is this the dagger in the PlayStation 3 heart, or is Sony launching the real revolution that will change the gaming and entertainment world forever? Let's get into it, folks. It's The Loop. Joining us from San Francisco, my good friend, stylist, and all together really a Renaissance man, Sean Baby is here. In Los Angeles, Don Shimoleski, who wrote the article for today's LA Times that prompted this very discussion, and also from the City of Angels, G4 Games editorial correspondent. He's the head of the department, really. It's Tom Russo. Folks, thanks for keeping us in the loop today. Don, this patent is from back in 2000. We've said this story's kind of been out for a little while. It's flown under the radar. Now it's come to light again. I mean, companies patent technologies all the time. Sometimes they do it just for kicks. Hey, what do you guys want to do? We're bored on a lunch break. Let's go patent some crap. Do you really think Sony would ever use a technology like this?
I mean, it's a really good question, and I wish Sony gave us an answer, but they frankly are not speaking. Although, as you mentioned, this has been around on the net and with some increasing frequency since around November, and then around E3 time in May, it surfaced again. And I think some of the reason it's so it's in the buzz is because game publishers are really concerned about used games. They're concerned that used games are cannibalizing their sales. And so this, I think, has fed speculation that Sony may use this patent that's been hanging out since the time of the PlayStation 2.
Well, Tom Russo's been covering games since before there were even a single pixel on the screen. Tom, why would Sony actually do this? Do you think they would have it in them to use a technology like this?
Kevin, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to pay $600 for a game system that nobody can share their games with their friends with at their house, at their friend's house. It's, DVDs, CDs, they're portable technologies. You should be able to bring them and use them on any player of that kind. I mean, records, everything works on, cassettes. Everything of this type of medium in the past has worked on. So I don't see why they think they could get away with this now. Certainly, it's a bargaining chip to hold over the retailers' heads if they feel like they could do this, but I don't think it's anything the consumer would put up with. Obviously, the poll reflects that, and ultimately, it's the consumers who really make the decisions.
Yeah, Sean, baby, what are your thoughts on our poll here? Over 80% of our people said they're not going to play used games. Would you get a PlayStation 3?
Sony has had a history of of sinister activities. I mean, it takes me 14 hours of treachery to play my own videos on my PSP. So it's not, they're kind of the Darth Vader of the entertainment industry right now. So I wouldn't put it past them, but I mean, I'm a sucker. I'll probably buy it anyway. I'll hate it, and I'll prefer the Xbox 360. I tell you, if they do make this happen, everyone at Microsoft is going to high-five each other and buy a new robot woman.
That's true. They'll get the microwavable variety this time. Now, Don, Sony's made a lot of mistakes with the PlayStation 3 launch. It seems is this just another hurdle for the launch of this title? Do they have to leap this one as well? What do you think the industry's reception is to news like this coming out of Sony's camp?
It's really funny. There's been absolutely no reaction from Sony, certainly, and even the retailers have been muted. I mean, used games have been sort of found money for companies like GameStop and EB. It's a lot more profitable for them to sell used games than it is for them to sell titles the first time around. And they're silent, too. I don't know.
Now, it's interesting that you bring that up because, Tom, you mentioned that just a minute ago, that this could be some sort of bargaining chip for Sony. Do you think they'd actually lord a technology like this over the heads of an EB Games or a mom-and-pop, second-hand retail shop?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, certainly if it's cutting into margins here in the U.S., I mean, I don't think there is as big of a used games problem in Europe or other territories. So I think there might even be some infighting within Sony as to whether or not this is something that they need to do. So yeah, I think that's sort of where you stand there. I mean, the thing is about console launches, it's right before they launch, everyone there's a lot of criticism because the games aren't ready. No one's handling finished hardware. So there's a lot of negatives before launch. I mean, obviously, Microsoft was at that point last year before launch. They got the system out. Not as many as they wanted, but the games were there. People got them for Christmas. You know, the prices were really hard. Sony's just basically in the same place this year. You know, it's all negative until it launches, and then, oh, look, amazing, it's out.
Sean, what do you think about this? Everything you've heard about the PlayStation 3, are you psyched for it? Or when you hear stories of DRM like this, you say, oh, it's another lame copy protection. They're just going to screw up the console.
Yeah, I'd be really disappointed if they did this, and I think it would damage their sales, you know, to the max, and I would hate the system. I'm sure I'd play games occasionally for it. It's going to be an amazing system, and it's totally from the future. It puts out, you know, 1080p, all kinds of numbers and letters. I don't really know what they mean, but it's from the future.
But you're not concerned with all, I mean, there has been, like, it seems like a rash of PlayStation 3 news that says, well, the games aren't going to look as good as we thought. It might be delayed. Blu-ray might not be here. It might have these protections. As a gamer, could you care less?
Blu-ray's lame. That's going to be the new Betamax. I mean, retailers are already stopping to carry UMD stuff. And so it's going to fail compared to HD DVD, I think. But the games are going to look amazing. All
right, Dawn, a final question for you, ma'am, because there has been some speculation, even in your article, that this technology might not just be for the video games themselves, that they could use this to DRM and protect movies and perhaps music. Do you think Sony might be putting that technology in there for those purposes as well?
You know, that's a completely open question. A lot of the analysts that we spoke to for this article seem to think that perhaps Sony wasn't interested in copy protecting games, but rather Sony envisions this console as being a media hub, so a place for you to download and view movies, a place for you to get all your music in one place. So it's conceivable that to keep the entertainment industry happy, they've worked out this sort of copy protection as a way to entice the entertainment industry to use this console as a way to deliver entertainment to the home.
Very true. All right, if this new technology does make it into the PlayStation 3, Sony might have a hard time selling it to the gamers, but maybe you can watch a movie on it, just not with your friends. Don't bring it to their house. That's a no-no. Thanks to Sean, Dawn, and Tom for joining us and keeping us in the loop. We appreciate it.